Good afternoon. This is a 2009 Dodge Journey with a 3.5. I'm pretty sure this would cross over to any of the 3.5s from Chrysler. This thing had a belt brake, shredded all to pieces, covered in oil. I looked down all of the pulleys look good. I've verified that none of the pulleys have too much run out, which is the usual cause of the belt breaking or a pulley sticking or something like that. Having oil on the belt will also cause it to break because it starts slipping and it'll burn itself in half. Anyways, the first thing to do, of course, is get your belt out of there, get all of the belt remnants out of there, and then try to figure out exactly where it's leaking the oil from. So I sprayed brake parts cleaner everywhere to get the majority of the oil off. There's still oil back through here on the strut tower on this side. So it's made its way all over the side of the vehicle. Now, the usual place that you have a leak from on most any engine that has a broken belt is going to be that crankshaft pulley down at the bottom down there. You can't see it through here, but it's right in that general vicinity. It is pushed out a little bit, which means, or it's not pushed out, the cover is pushed in because the belt obviously wrapped back behind it. And in order to access it on this particular vehicle, you have to raise the side up over here and take the wheel off, get a bar that goes across the top to hold the engine up, or a jack with a block of wood under the oil pan. To support the engine, you may have to remove this bracket here for the engine mount, and then drop all of this side down just to be able to access it fully. I have not looked under there yet, so I really don't know for 100% positivity that we got to do any of that. We just might be able to take the wheel off, take the inner fender cover off, and have full access to the front of it. But I'll soon find out, and I'll be right back. Alright, well, here's the front of the engine, and it looks like there's oil everywhere, but still got pieces of belt down here. I wonder if it might have broken that sensor there, because it doesn't really look like it's extremely wet behind the crankshaft pulley there, although it could be either or. So to be able to get this side off, you have to, of course, remove the wheel. It's, as long as it hasn't been changed, it's 5 19mm bolts or nuts. You've got a 10mm that's here, a 10mm that's here, here, and then a push clip that's supposed to hold 3 pieces together here. I'm pretty sure this is not done right either, because it's this is not in its right home. Also, I have a very obnoxious noise going on over here. The key's off, keys out of the ignition, the battery's almost dead. Not to mention there's some obnoxious noise up there too by way of a bird. He's right there in that limb. Anyways, I would be willing to bet this thing's probably got an electrical issue too. Mainly because it killed the battery. It says reconditioned. It had 5 volts, which is no bueno. She's already replaced the alternator, and it looks like she's had this issue for a little while now, because there's jumper cables. So let's go ahead and find some Earl and pour it off inside of here and see where we get some leaky from. I'd be willing to bet it's going to come from that sensor or the crankshaft. More likely that sensor, because that's in direct path from the crankshaft to the AC compressor. And the way that belt is mangled up, It would not surprise me none if it didn't whip it a few 100,000 times. So we're gonna get some air pour inside of here and see where she goes from there. First, we're gonna disconnect the oil pressure, or maybe it's an oil pressure switch or an oil level switch. I'm not entirely sure. It's an oil switch regardless. Alright, I'm gonna pour it up and see how she goes. Alright, so I've poured about 4 quarts of oil in. And it's not even leaking from over here. I see drops coming from the front side there. I just saw it drip from behind the AC compressor. But I don't see where else it would be coming from. So let's just look over the top side here. Front side of the AC compressor is going to be power steering, but it's absolutely leaking oil. Engine oil, not power steering oil, because technically they're both oils. Or lubricants, whatever you want to call it. So what we're going to do is give her a quick start. See how she goes. I think we might have something misaligned here, because that power steering pump and the AC compressor are not in line with one another. Either the AC compressor is kicked forward on the pulley side, or the power steering pump is kicked back on the pulley side, because looking straight down, I can see the back side of the AC compressor pulley sticking out, but I can't see the front side sticking out. So one of those two are obviously misaligned, which is probably what caused this belt to break. So I'm gonna do a little bit of digging here, and maybe I can find my leak at the same time. Alright, being up under here, I can very clearly see that the oil is not leaking from up above. Maybe not. It's obviously pooling down here. It has what looks like an AC Delco oil filter on it, so that shouldn't be a problem. I wonder if they even put the seal on it, because she said she just got her oil changed. That would explain 2 things. One, why her belt flew off, because it had oil on it. And secondly, why she has no oil, because there would be no seal. So let's just take the oil filter off. And well, I'm not doing that with oil all over the place. Be right back. Alright, let's see if we can do this here. I got me a rag. God almighty. Okay, be back again. There's somebody put Godzilla on this thing. That thing was way over torqued. But I finally got it loose. It's obviously got a seal in it, otherwise... Oh no, I'm getting it all over my string. It's obviously got a seal in it, otherwise it wouldn't have held the oil back. But man, that thing was tight. Too tight is not good. Too loose is also not good. I'm going to try to stop this for a second while I clean myself up. Alright, well, I figured out where it was coming from. It's coming out of the end of the oil pressure switch. And I kind of had a feeling that was where it was coming from anyways. And it's pouring out all over the place. This sensor, depending on if you have a business account or not, at AutoZone is $28.97. You could probably find it for less, but I would be skeptical if it would actually work properly. They're pretty basic, so you might be able to get by with a cheaper one. The battery on this thing is an absolute nightmare and a half. Durasmash battery. There is a bracket that goes over the top side of it. I've not put it on yet. I'll have to put it back on in just a minute, but this is said bracket. That hook is a pain in the butt. Then you've got this L hook that goes into this portion here, and then a nut somewhere, wherever it went, goes on the top side of it to cinch it down. And of course there's push pins in all of this. Now the belt, I've not put it on yet, but I can now since I know exactly where it's leaking from. I do have another piece of a belt to get out of the tensioner down there. I don't know if you can see it or not. Up on the top side of the puller there, you can probably see a little nipple of it sticking out. But that is the rest of the belt that's twisted around anything. So here's to hoping that all is well after changing the sensor out. So I have a good bit of cleanup to do from the oil spillage. After the belt broke, it obviously slapped the crap out of the sensor and just flung oil everywhere. And thanks for watching. If this helped you out any, like, subscribe, share. Thanks.